Good morning. Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. It's been a while since I've been on here, seems like. Might feel like I've dropped off the face of the world, and I kind of did for a bit. And so we're going to do another video today, but I want to catch everybody up and let you know what's been going on. As those who are on here pretty regular, as you know, we were scheduled to go to Florida, Momma and I, do a week-long ride down there. So we were going to leave here on the 18th and head down. And on the 17th, we were going to make a video laying out all of our gear and packing and what we were doing. And we were going to do a video on that. We said we would. Well, we got up Thursday morning on the 17th, and we're stirring around and making coffee and making plans, getting ready to make that video. And I got a telephone call from Kentucky from my mom, and she said they had taken my dad in the hospital, and then she started crying and asked me if I could come up. Well, when your mom calls crying and asks if you can come home, you go home. That's what you do. And so I finished getting dressed and grabbed a duffel bag and threw it in the truck, and it's about a 4-hour drive up there, and hit the road and went up to the hospital. And my dad's had congestive heart failure for a lot of years, and this was just the end. And so he was in the hospital for a couple days, and then they told him that the right half of his heart had just completely shut down. It was done. And there wasn't anything anybody could do, so we took him home to hospice. And so I spent 10 days, my mom and myself and my 3 younger sisters, and just pretty well around the clock watching him on hospice. And then on Monday the 27th, he passed. He passed away. He was 76 years old, had lived a very, very good life, a very honest life, a very hard-working life, man with a very good reputation, a man with a legacy. And then so we had the funeral on this Thursday. Today is February, I don't even know what today is. I think it's the 4th. But on the 2nd, we had his funeral, and then I spent another day up there getting everything in order for Mom, and then arrived back down here last night. And so it's been a busy time. There's been, several inquiries on Rumble and about, hey man, you were going to make a video on that new rifle, where you at, and all good-natured stuff, but we've been out of pocket for a bit, and there's going to be I've got a lot of stuff on my heart and on my mind about things I've learned from my dad over the years that I want to share, some of the next podcasts or videos, one or the other, but I'm not really ready for that yet. So we're not going to do that today, but I just wanted to catch everybody up. So I guess catch-up time here. I've had several over on the podcast side, and this is going to be posted on the podcast as well as YouTube. I've been contacted by several fellows wanting me to come and be on their podcast. I did one, but everything happened to fall out, and had already scheduled it when this thing with my dad came up. I don't like to break schedules. So when my dad passed away, and I drove down the day before the funeral and recorded that podcast with someone who has all the technology, and then drove back up for the funeral. And won't be doing that anymore. Not saying I won't be doing podcasts, but I've just been running too hard. We got to get this school moved out to Wyoming by the end of this month. So I've got a month to get it set up before classes start. And so I'm stretched really thin right now. So, we're pretty much everything except for these videos and the podcast and getting this school set up for this upcoming season is, except for that, everything else is just going to have to wait. It's on hold, okay? But I appreciate everybody's patience and understanding. I want to talk about something today, and it has nothing to do with what happened in the last week or last 2 weeks. It's just a subject that's been on my mind, a subject that I feel like a lot of people need. I'm pretty sure that you've messed up. Now, the reason I'm pretty sure that you've messed up is because you're a human. All right? And we're all humans. Now, you have either messed up or one day you're going to mess up. Or somebody else is going to mess up that you are attached to. And so this is going to apply to you from one side or another, today, yesterday, or tomorrow. And so if you hear this and you listen to this today and you're like, that's not really applicable to me today, file it away. It'll either help you help somebody else in the future, or it'll be there when you need it in the future, all right? So you've messed up. Now what? Now, I don't know what your mess up is. You might have cheated on somebody. You might have messed up at work. You might have drove home drunk and got in a wreck. Or at least got stopped and got a ticket. You might have done something very bad and very human, and now it's eating you up. It's eating you up, and it's about to destroy you. So you messed up. Now what? What do you do now? Where do you go from here? What is there a tomorrow? Is there a tomorrow? Well, yes. So I'm gonna lay some things out for you. All right? If you've messed up, the very first step, the very first thing that you've got to do is you've got to stop. Whatever it is you did, don't do it no more. I shouldn't even have to say that, but that's the first thing. You know, it's such a thing these days for somebody to do something wrong and say, I'm sorry, and go back and do it again, and say, I'm sorry, and go back and do it again. After a while, you get the feeling they weren't really sorry. They were never sorry to start with. There's a big difference between being sorry I did something and being sorry I got caught. And there's a big difference between not wanting to do something and not wanting to get caught doing something. All right? So for you to get past this and get through this, whatever it is, first thing you have to do is you got to stop doing it. You have to quit. Now, some things I understand. Some things they're chemical. All right? If you're alcohol addicted or it involves drugs, sometimes you need help. Gambling, all right, you went to Vegas and you spent your wife and yours life saving and gambled away the house mortgage and the college tuition for the kids and whatever. You may need some help. Excuse me, been fighting a cold for 2 weeks. But that's fine, that's part of quitting, but you quit. All right? If you're cheating, stop. Just stop. You say, well, I don't care how you feel. I don't care how you feel. Feelings and morality are not the same thing. We're not Clintons. We do not deal in situational ethics. We stop doing what is wrong because it's wrong. We don't stop doing it because we stop feeling a certain way about doing it. And you want it, and you want to do it, But you get to the place where you're sick and tired of hurting those around you. You're sick and tired of being that person, and you stop, because stopping is the right thing to do. And until you stop, nothing else counts. It doesn't count. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. So you stop. All right, whatever it is. Second, you own it. Your decision is your decision. And again, this whole situational ethics, the situation makes it okay if I go ahead and do this. We look for excuses. There's no excuse. Well, yeah, but no, there's no yeah buts and there's no excuse. There is no excuse. There is absolutely no excuse for getting behind the wheel of a car if you've had a drink. None. There's Ubers, there's taxis, there's friends, there's 2 dang feet. There is no excuse. There's no excuse for cheating on a significant other. None. Well, they're cold and they're distant, so? Well, they cheated on me, so? They did something that to you is despicable, so you're going to turn around and use that excuse to do it back? Congratulations. You just descended to the level of that what you hate. There's no excuse. Own it. As long as you say, well, yeah, I did it, but I did it because of this. Man up. I know there's other people other than men, but I talk to the men, and if you're a woman and this applies to you, bless you, you're welcome. But it's just for my linear thought, it helps me. All right, man up. All right, just man up. I did it. It was me. Like the old spiritual hymn in church, not my brother, not my sister, but it's me, O Lord, standing in the need of prayer. I did it. It doesn't matter what they did. Doesn't matter how I was feeling. Doesn't matter how bad my day at work was. Doesn't matter who was texting me. Doesn't matter who was calling me. Does not matter who's in the White House. Does not matter who's in the dog house. It doesn't matter. If you did wrong, you did it. Own it. Own it. All right? You'll not get past it until you own it. You cannot get over it. You cannot get victory over it. You cannot get past it unless it's yours. And it's not yours unless you own it. Okay? So, no excuses. No blame. Except for yourself. You did it. All right? Second, admit it to others. You admit it to yourself. You own it. Go and confess it and apologize. All right? It doesn't just have to be cheating. It doesn't have to be infidelity. It could be anything. All right? You're at work. You're driving a company truck, a forklift, a tractor. Excuse me. You run it into a ditch. You break it. All right? Nobody knows who was out driving that. Nobody knows who did it. You know who did it. Go to the boss and say, look, that was me. I did that. Well, what happened? I was texting while I was driving and I wasn't paying attention. I did it. Now, you might lose your job. All right? You may walk out of that office without a job. But you'll walk out of there with a backbone and some self-respect. It'll be easier for next time for you to stand up, man up, and admit it. I did it. And I'm sorry. I wish I had not done it, but I cannot deny I did do it. And I apologize. And whatever my punishment is for it, I'll take it. Whatever my punishment is for it, I will take it. I will deal with the consequences of my action. Now, on a side note here, there's this very foolish thought, very foolish saying going around out in the world that love means not having to say I'm sorry. You put that garbage out of your head. All right? A close, true friend today is very precious. It's very hard to find. A soulmate, a lover, a true one is very precious, very hard to find. They are to be protected, they are to be treasured, they are to be taken care of. And when you wrong them, If there's anybody on this planet you owe an apology to, it's the person closest to you. The person who stands beside you the tightest. They are the ones you owe the apology to the most, because they are the ones you owe the most to. All right? Confess it and apologize for it. Make it right. You say, well, that's going to be awfully costly. Yeah. But listen to me. If you don't make it right, the cost that you're going to pay is going to be much, much worse, to the degradation of your soul and the complete wiping out of your manhood and your self-respect, your dignity. All right? Confess it, apologize for it, and make it right, whatever it takes. Was that it? No, that's not it. Forgive yourself. When you've gone through and you've done what needs to be done, and you've made it right as you can make it, to everyone that you need to make it right to. And you don't need to make it right to everybody. You didn't harm everybody. But those you need to make it right to, you've done that, and you've left it behind. Now forgive yourself. Because ultimately, in the end, we're all just humans. We're all just flesh and blood. And we live on a planet that's made up of a system that is setting out to destroy us. Setting out to destroy us. You can't, listen, fellas, and no excuse, all right? But you cannot stop by the grocery store to pick up a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread for the wife on the way home from work without having to walk down that aisle at the checkout with the magazines down the side with the pictures on it. Some of you live in cities, the billboards are horrendous. If you're still foolish enough to have TV and watch TV, they sell everything from cars to toothpaste using sex. You bombard yourself with it, they bombard you with it, and it's there. And if we're not cautious and we're not careful, we will fall. We're surrounded by technology. Everybody texts us, the Facebook thing, whatever. You're going to text. All right, and you get in the habit and everything's so wound up, and you're going to text and you're going to drive. All right, you're going to fall. You're a human. There's no excuse for falling. It seems like a paradox, but it's not a paradox, okay? But you've got to forgive yourself, all right? The past is the past, and you've got to leave the past in the past. And until you can walk away from the past, you cannot have a future. You cannot live in the past and the future at the same time. Now, you've got to bury the past. The past has to die and it has to be buried. But once it's dead and buried, you have to move on. And there's nothing in this life that will destroy you faster than you being unable to forgive yourself for your wrongdoings. Now, it's hard when those we love and those around us cannot forgive us for our wrongdoings. That's hard enough. But when you cannot forgive yourself, that's not survivable. That's not survivable. All right? So, walk away. When you finish doing what is right and you finished making everything right, walk away. The you that was you yesterday is not the you that is you today, unless it is. The you that is you yesterday is not the you that is you today, unless it is. But when it is not, when you have faced that man in the mirror and you have dealt with the yesterdays and you have dealt with everything and you have held the funeral and you have buried the past and you have buried the you that was that man in the past, that is no longer you. All right? Today's a new day. Today's a new you. And so do not destroy yourself over a man that no longer exists. All right? You got to move on. You got to move on. And if you've done what's right, to a degree, you have to make everybody around you let you move on. Now, sometimes family, sometimes friends, they won't let go of the past. They won't let you forget the past. And sometimes as you walk away from the past, you got to walk away from those who will not let you leave the past. You do what you got to do, but you survive. You survive to become a better man, a stronger man, a wiser man, a more tempered man, and a better man. Okay? So yeah, you messed up. But it's not the end of the world that it seems. And it's not the end of the world that those would try to make it seem. All right? I just really on my heart this week, and I just really wanted to encourage and just really wanted to see if I could help somebody with that. What do we got going on here today? Camacho, Connecticut. Nice, really smooth, easy going cigar. And so I just share that with you. Folks getting on there. Folks still get on there and say, I don't understand the cigar thing. Well, let me explain it to you in a way that you can understand, all right? My channel, my thoughts, my heart, my words, my likes, okay? And can't explain it any better than that. So I hope you guys have a good one. And where I'm going to set out, I got Jesse's back down here. He came down here to be with me for Pa. My dad, everybody called him Pa. We'll be talking about Pa, but he's here. So while I got a little help with the video, I'm going to go ahead and try and set up and see if we can't get that rifle video over on Rumble. Okay? And so we wish you guys all the best. I have a heart for you. I know sometimes it seems like in this world nobody cares. But buddy, somebody cares, okay? Somebody does care. So just keep going, don't quit, and just keep fighting through. And you'll make it. You'll make it. All right? We'll catch you guys next time.